Contrary to popular belief, you don't procrastinate because you're lazy, you don't procrastinate because you're broken, and you definitely don't procrastinate because you struggle with motivation. The only reason you procrastinate is because your subconscious mind has logically come to the conclusion that the certain thing that you want to do isn't worth doing. Even though your rational mind has come to the conclusion that you must do the thing, part of you is still convinced that it would be to your detriment. In this video, we're going to talk about why this happens in the first place so we can understand where procrastination comes from, how to spot it, and after that we're going to go over the method which teaches us how to beat it every single time after we spotted it. What you have to understand is that survival is your brain's #1 priority. Above all else, you just want to stay alive, and your body will optimize for you to do that. Over the hundreds of years of evolution, your body has become more adaptable and more capable every single year to stay alive for longer. Almost every single thing in your body is there for a very, very good reason, and the mental is nothing different. Procrastination is a mechanism compiled to keep you from doing things outside of your identity. If running, for example, is outside of your identity and you want to go on a run because you've established that running is going to be something healthy for you, a good activity that you can do quite frequently, but you're not quite capable of doing that yet because you haven't done it in the past, your brain is going to associate this with danger. But to put this into context, we really need to let go of the subjective idea of good and bad. Good and bad doesn't really exist in the universe, and without being too spiritual, what you have to understand is that survival isn't really conducive to your happiness. It doesn't care how you feel. And if you have things such as lifting weights in the gym, which are good, and running, which are good, and you have stuff which are bad, such as pushing unknown substances that might lead you to a high, such as drugs, into your system, and eating McDonald's as bad things, the thing is, it doesn't discriminate based on goodness. It doesn't discriminate based on healthiness. All your procrastination circuit cares about is how known and how safe the activity is. In your current life, when you eat McDonald's, you aren't in danger. When you lift weights in the gym, you aren't in danger. And if your identity has done these things a bunch of times before, you're going to have no trouble doing either of them, despite how good or bad they are. Now, of course, I personally don't go and eat McDonald's that frequently because I have this conception of it being bad, but I wouldn't procrastinate on it because I know what it's like, right? And the same thing might be true for you, for example, with going to the gym. If you've gone to the gym 100 times before, you're not really going to procrastinate on it, at least not for the reason that it might be dangerous. You might not know what is going to happen. But even when we talk about something like doing heroin and running, both of these things you won't really get yourself to. Now, the reason you don't procrastinate on doing drugs and shooting yourself up with these unknown substances is because you're not pulled towards them, right? If I told you to touch a hot stove, you wouldn't even consider it. You'd be like, wait, what? Why? I haven't even thought about that. That didn't even pop up in your mind. And the reason for that is because of resistance. Resistance is the force that comes up when you know you need to do something, yet your body procrastinates. The sole purpose of resistance is to keep you safe, is to keep you comfortable. And even if this comfort breeds misery, leads you back to the bad habits like McDonald's, Fortnite, whatever may be inside of your identity which you're comfortable with, you will keep doing that. Notice how this is good and this is bad. You're still going to be pulled towards this thing because it's in your comfort zone. And also, just as we said, you won't be pulled towards heroin because you don't even think about it, because why would you even do it right now? You're not going to feel resistance when thinking about this because it just simply doesn't pop up. But to articulate these points even better, let's show them in the matrix of your rational mind and your identity. Resistance only arises when something is outside of your comfort zone, yet your rational mind wants you to do it. Whenever you think about drugs, if you even think about them in the first place, if they're not part of your identity, your brain's going to go, we shouldn't do this, and your identity is going to say, yeah, we shouldn't. However, when you're thinking about something good for yourself and your brain's like, yes, we should do that, such as running in this example, if it's not part of your comfort zone, your identity is going to be like, and that's when resistance comes in. So based on this, we can come up with the definition for resistance as Stephen Pressfield in The War of Art came up for it, which is basically a force which keeps you from things that are good, which is very important to note here. It only comes up when something is meant for you. Resistance manifests in a way where your brain starts working against you. It starts making excuses. For example, if I want to go on a run, it's going to start saying, wait, we don't even have new shoes. We have these ruggedy ass fucking 3-year-old shoes. Those aren't really that good to run in. We might actually get hit by a car because there's a lot of traffic right now. You remember that we trained really hard yesterday. We haven't even fully recovered yet. It's going to start spewing these arguments at me. Even though I've rationally decided that I want to go for a run, it's going to try to keep me away from it. This is very important for you to understand, and this is the crux of the video. If you understand this, you will beat procrastination every every single time. Resistance only comes up into good things, and the level of resistance, how much resistance we're feeling right now, is conducive to how good the thing is for us. So if that's something you really, 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 really need to do, like ask your crush out, the girl you've been thinking about for the past fucking 2 years, you're gonna struggle doing that a lot. Or launching a new business, buying that piece of property, something like this, which you know would be really, really good for you, yet you keep procrastinating on it. This is the indicator. The reason you keep getting these thoughts, so many overwhelming thoughts of don't do this because this might go, that might go, even though you know that rationally it would be a good decision, it's because you must do it. It's because resistance is so high. So if you understand in a weird way, what we're actually doing here is flipping the script. We're asking ourselves, wait a minute, the reason I feel so pushed away from this thing is because it's good for me. Because, if it was this bad, I wouldn't even be thinking about it. I don't have an impulse to touch the hot stove. My mind doesn't start saying, oh no, you shouldn't touch the hot stove because this. I don't even fucking think about that shit. The reason I'm getting all of these thoughts is because my mind has already decided that this is a good thing for me. But my old identity, the one that's clinging onto these things, wants to remain intact. It wants to survive. Just like I do, just as every single organism in the world wants to survive, so does my old identity. And every single time I do something that's good for me, or just anything that's outside of my comfort zone, it feels threatened. That's when resistance arises. And what I must do to beat it is to flip the script, is to ask myself, wait a minute, are these judgments rational? Would running actually be bad for me? Because I've already decided that I should go running. I've already decided yesterday night that that's something that I'm going to put into my routine today, and that, it would be healthy for me. Why am I feeling this overwhelming sense of resistance? And if you critically think about it, you could be like, aha, this is resistance. This is resistance talking, so I must do it. That is my indicator that I must do this thing now. And don't get me wrong, it still won't be easy, but every single time you feel this weird sense of pain, not really this physical pain, but this mental identity pain of, moving against your urges, because your urges are going to feel this resistance and tell you, no, don't do it, no, don't do it. But every single time you do, you're molding your identity. You're going to go running that day, and maybe the next day you're also going to feel an intense desire to not run. But every single time you do it, running is going to move a bit closer to your identity until you realize that, oh shit, I'm a runner now, and now I don't even feel any resistance when this shit comes up. Just like this happened with the gym. If you've been going to the gym for 2 years, it's natural for you that you feel safe going to the gym. Your body isn't going to try to resist it because it is a part of your identity now. So in a nutshell, all you want to do is move the things that are good for you in here and the things that are bad for you out of it. Now, you can't consciously move McDonald's out of your identity because you've done it a bunch of times. But what you can do is just not do it. It's just not fall back on this part of your identity. If you feel like going back to something that's comfortable, go back to the good stuff and just leave this out. And if you haven't done it for the past 5 years, it's going to start moving out of here, and it's going to start moving with the drug kind of thing, which I hope you haven't done at least. And you're going to be like, wait, I don't even know. Like, yeah, sure, I ate the Happy Meal like when I was a kid, but I don't even know. Maybe they changed the recipes. Maybe my gut wouldn't digest it as well as it did 5 years ago. I'm good. I don't want to eat McDonald's anymore. So if you're struggling with procrastination, just have this moment of mindfulness and be like, wait, hold on. I determined that this thing would be good for me to do. Why is my brain working against me in this instance? Why is it telling me that I might slip if I go running? Why is it telling me that if I start working, then someone might call me? If you can logically argue with yourself and actually get to the conclusion that, oh shit, wait, doing this thing would actually be in my best interest, even though I feel this pain, and you can still do it if you feel this pain. Remember, it's not about removing the sense of working against yourself, using it as an indicator and still doing it. That's the key here. But all of this isn't easy to do, and it will only be much harder if you're already running at like 60-70% of your capacity. A lot of us are so overwhelmed by all of this modern stuff that we have to do, and we keep putting things off and, adding to our task list and doing more without really getting anything done, and drowning ourselves and drowning our subconscious in all of these activities and overwhelming ourselves. But luckily for you, I just made a video about this, about how to reclaim your focus, your energy, and unlock your potential. So you can check that out if you want to.